Sick. Yo, what up? This is Paul, the owner of the Las Vegas Venom, and Dylan Florentine, one of the utility players on the team. We're just going to write a grid program and think about what you should do as a rookie or a brand new or someone that's interested in training for the sport of grid. And we're just going to talk about some thoughts of what we're going to do for this program, and starting off with what a new player sort of needs to do, or some stimulus that new players need to start hitting.
Yeah, and kind of going into it, like anytime you're writing a program, you got to think about like what are the objectives. So our objective is to build comfortability. We want them to get comfortable. That's gonna be like I think the number one of comfortability / understanding. Within the programming, what else is like the objective as a coach? Like, what do you need them from the player?
I think that one of the hardest things about grid is the whole like aspect of where the elements are laid out. So actually like understanding the layout of the grid, you know, sprinting to the object and having the urgency to start doing whatever movement that it is.
Yeah, that might be better.
So
we need to build situational awareness within the program. They need to build that comfortability, understand. They need situational awareness.
They definitely need to do things on a time domain instead of a weight-based domain. So instead of saying you need to do 10 hang cleans at 185, it needs to be you need to do 10 cleans in 13 seconds, right? So it's like stimulus is based on completing certain things in a certain amount of time instead of just, you know, so there needs to be some type of metric that they're increasing week to week the same time with bigger weights. Instead of typical periodized programs is going to be like increasing the weight week to week. This should be staying in the same time domain while still increasing the weight week to week.
Yeah.
Until it gets to that point where now they're, you know, cycling the main competition weight. And even it could be, I think, a skill thing as far as like gymnastics, you know, chest to bar. If your chest to bar is not fast enough, then you should be doing pull-ups instead.
Yeah.
It's not just doing slow chest to bar to get better at grid. So they need to understand whatever the elements need to be, you know, completed in certain time frames.
So increase speed times. There's another word I was thinking of.
So if the main objectives are, you know, giving them some comfortability in the movements themselves and some situational awareness of like, okay, you know, it's not just take my time to start the movement, and then the time awareness or the time caps or frame. I think those three things make a really big difference in how you would train for cleans on a given day.
Yeah.
It's now no longer even the rest periods, you know, are going to be different.
Yeah. Yeah. And you got to be able to maintain 100%. So increase speed times and maintain speed endurance. That's going to be like the main focus, right? Because we're all, especially for a rookie, you got chosen because you have a specific skill set. You're good. Like for me, for example, I'm good at my squats. But can I maintain the speed, the times, and maintain my speed for the whole match?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the main objective. Okay.
Right. And as a training goal, like even just if you're a interested person in like doing this for some training, you're going to be able to test how well you can keep your split times. I mean, it's the same thing if you're trying to train for a marathon. You know, you're going to look at what your split times are and see where do your split times fall off. So you'll be able to, you know, train for
Yeah, is it going to be
You
mile
know,
5 or mile 10 or mile 15 whenever the 8-minute splits turn into 9-minute splits?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. And then as a coach, after comfortability, under and understanding, situational awareness, increased speed, times, maintain speed, endurance throughout the whole match, what else are you looking for? So not only in a program that you can write, let's look above physical capabilities. Like, what about mentality? Are you trying to teach within the programming? This is like another thing that you can add to the programming.
Yeah, that definitely is hard to do if you were following this programming remotely without like a partner. So it is a team sport. So the aspects of when someone else is supposed to do 20 reps and you're supposed to do 10 reps, right? And then for whatever reason your teammate, cramps up and now they've only done 10 instead of 20 and you were supposed to, and like those things that happen in all team CrossFit competitions, like everybody's gone through that. Like, you said you were going to do that, and yeah, exactly. I think that's really hard to replicate in
it is hard
in training.
Yeah, it is, because you might have one of your teammates that says like, hey, I can do all these movements, and then like you said, they cramp up, or next thing you know, like they're staring at a rope when we're supposed to
be redline
rope times. And now you got to be like, shit, like how are we going to be able to communicate? That's like, you have to do team practice. You can't really practice that, because on your own, like if your coach is screaming at you and you're in the middle of the grid match and you don't know what to do, you freeze.
Yeah,
it activates that fight or flight response, and you've seen it on the grid. Like I've seen it with some of the past teammates,
right,
where they freeze on the floor, and you're just like, get off the grid. Like you got to go tag someone.
So maybe just thinking out loud on how to train for that, right? Is let's go over like if we had. We'll do 4 days in the program, right?
So 4 days a week.
I'm gonna grab another marker real quick.
Yeah.
Good morning. If we were splitting this up, I don't know where to put this whiteboard. If we were splitting this up into, let's say, your 4 days, I think one of the days would be like, for example, in week 1, this scenario of the adversity that we're talking about, you would have the test 10 of each movement. Then in week 2, 5 of this movement, 20 of that movement, right? Like things that would change along the specific format. So what we would do is in a grid match, you're going to have a set of races that you're doing. So there's a total of 11 races.
Yeah.
So let's say if we were training as a strength specialist, that'll be an easy one. So you have race 1, race 2, race 3, and race 4. Those are pretty much the 4 races you would be training for, which would be, partner forward, mirror, echoes, and ladder, which this is actually technically 3, 4, and then this is 5. So if as a strength specialist, your adversity happens in the echo.
Yeah.
Barbell cycling, someone, you burn out.
I think another thing and I wrote this down whenever you were walking, grab another marker. Duration per week. Like, all right, we're going for 4 days out of the week. We're training for group A, group B, group C, group D. Now, volume, intensity, and total tonnage. Meaning, like, does that athlete have the volume capacity to complete the whole grid match?
Yeah.
Like, if they don't, then they got to ease into it. So, like, maybe they got to increase the volume, lower the intensity.
Right.
So they can get to the volume.
So what
with
about,
the intensity.
Let's say, I mean, so this is, put it up here. This is for a strength specialist, right?
Yeah.
So let's say, what if we did let's say is your heavy day. This is where you're going to train the heavy side of your lifting capabilities, like a strength day, not necessarily working on the speed and transitions. After that heavy day, maybe you take a 1 day or a 1 day rest into a transition, speed, and then you can do some technical. Then your C day could be active recovery. And then your D would be another heavy, which in the first, let's say a 6-week program, 3 weeks, and then match test for 3 weeks. So you have a building base of 3 weeks where they have 2 heavy days a week where they're, working on just, let's say it's 10 hang clean and jerks. And they're doing those 10 hang clean and jerks split up, but only that as just strength training. Then after 3 weeks, instead of having this as a second heavy day, it becomes a match test day where they test it. Like, okay, now I have to do race 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whereas in the previous weeks, they would have only tested like race 1 on A, race 2 on B, race 3 and 4 on C, race 5 on D, and it's split across like that.
Yeah.
And they build, like you said, the tonnage and volume. Because then what we're doing is eventually we're going to decrease the total tonnage in a match. You're not doing 4 sets of 10 hang cleans for speed. You're doing 1 set. So, but you're going to do it at that 110% now.
Yeah. Okay. And I like that idea. And I was coming at it in a way of like, if you're doing a 4-week program, right? That's the duration of the program. They got to get used to that match, get comfortable with that match for the 4 weeks. The 4 weeks you're hammering hard. And usually we have about 4 weeks between matches, right?
Yeah.
So maybe for the first week, and specify just like fucking use one of the matches.
Yeah.
If we do cleanup.
Okay.
Cleanup is for a strength guy. We have deadlifts. Deadlifts is going to be a heavy deadlift for max reps and speed. That's going to be the first day of work. You're going to work on your deadlifts. So that's going to be more of a like focused. For females, you got to be comfortable with 245. For males, you got to be comfortable with 365. But now this is at a fast intensity. You can't just go nice and slow with that 365 and that 345. Let's just say that individual can't really do 365 in a manner that we would like.
Right.
So we're not just going to have them continue to just hit 365 at full speed. Maybe let's bring it down to 300. Let's go to a 7 out of 10 RPE. But instead of doing, you're going to do multiple sets of 3 reps for max speed. So you'll do like 5 sets of 3 max speed at 300. Now you're going at a 710 RPE. And then let's just say we're going into the next week. Now we're going to increase that to 8 out of 10 RPE. We're going to increase the weight. You're still getting faster because now you're getting used at a lighter weight instead of going right. Because sometimes whenever you get thrown right into it, your mind starts playing with you. You're like, man, I can't do this. Like you get used to 300 and like you're like, oh, I'm meeting the time material. I have the strength for it. And with 300, I'm getting real fast with it. Now I'm going to bump up to 315 or 320. And I'm going to go for 5 sets of 3 fast pace. And then on week 3, I'm going to go to 350 and go for fast pace for 5 sets.
You know, but let's say if we were, this is for a new person, not really preparing for a match.
Yeah.
So that makes more sense. If it was a match, I think it would be different. Just thinking out, I know it's a little off topic. So if we had, for a rookie intermediate or someone who's just interested in learning how to do it, like you said, week 1, 300, week 2, 325, 345, week 4, 365. If it was a pro player, the same weeks, would probably be 345, 365, 385.
Train heavier.
Yeah. 385. And then
405.
Right. Actually, even better. 365, 385, 405, and then the week 4 would be the competition weight.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you would essentially build a little bit of periodized strength and then go into the, so if you were hitting, let's say your workout was 4 sets of 6 deadlifts at whatever the prescribed weight is, but it has to be 10 seconds per set with maybe like a rest, let's say 90 seconds. If you just hit 4 sets of 6 at 405 in 10 seconds, what are you going to do now when you hit 465? You're going to blast it.
What you got to do here too, because now you're comparing with another movement. You're saying you're doing it at 10 seconds per set, which I don't know. Yeah, that's doable. And then you rest, 1-to-1 rest, and now you're going into pistols.
Yeah, if you were training specifically for a partner. So I was thinking if, like, for something like a pistol, that might be an accessory. So I know we kind of started with the races over here.
But, like,
if we said your strength section is here, I would train them separately and leave putting them together over here. So, like, okay, if we have deadlifts on this day, right?
Just an athlete that, like, because I'm at the very beginning, I'm the utility. And right now, whenever I do my training for myself, I have to, like, run through it. Maybe I give myself a little bit more rest in between the deadlift and the pistols, but I favorite one leg for pistols. So, like, for me, I know my right side's a lot faster. This is an athlete. And by the time I go for that last set of 7 deadlifts, my legs are smoked. Like, my right leg's smoked. So I need to understand the stimulus with it. And whenever you go into match day for that, and are you talking, like, for the 4th day of training, match day?
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's say if this should actually be a B section. Let's say if your first heavy day, this would be actually your second part. Like, let's say your first part of the workout should actually be the hang cleans. So 10 hang clean in 12 seconds. Same thing as this. We're going to do 4 sets of 10.
Is that what the fastest is?
Week 1 is going to be 175. Week 2 is going to be 190. Week 3 is 205. Week 4 is 215.
Well,
right?
I mean, if you're thinking about it in the regards of, like, the same training as the
no, this guy would do it differently. But
Okay.
I think we might be getting too
yeah.
like we gotta stay on focus on which, like, this will be programmed. Let's leave the pro level out of it. We'll just keep it at the rookie level or intermediate. That way we don't get too in the weeds on it. So if this is your A part, you're doing 4 sets of 10 hang cleans in 12 seconds, right? And this is the recommended weights for males. Females would be, right, we have to put the female
You're going to
weights.
140, so just add 140 right here and slowly go down.
Yep. So 140.
Like, do like 120.
125.
Yeah, 125. 105.
105. And
Yeah, you can do 95.
95. This one would be, is it 245?
For the females, it is, 245.
205.
I guess you could just go along the lines of like what they have for the grid match. So 245, 205, 155, 135 for the.
No, that would be.
Yeah, it's too light.
It'd be too light. Yeah.
You're right.
Because if you did this, let's say the 6 is like, it's not the last, it's the middle range. It's not even, we have 5 and 7, right?
Yeah, because that's two different stimuluses.
Yeah, exactly. So, but this is only the deadlift, right? So this is your A piece, your hang clean, barbell cycling, your ollie stuff, right? More speed, explosiveness kind of. Is a little bit heavy. Part B, these are 2 pieces of your strength. I think part C would be where you're now doing your accessory work should be weighted pistol. 4 sets of, let's say, 8 reps. I think all of it would go the same, period, as just simple linear progression.
Yeah, slowly progress, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're gonna do, let's say 8 reps should take, that movement is fast, 10 seconds.
Well, I don't know, because sometimes smooth is fast. Like, because
So
the pistols
say
are where
12
no reps happen.
Yeah.
It's a no rep zone.
Right. And that's another part of the program is like, how do we adjust for making sure people do it correctly,
Well, that's where video submissions come in.
Yeah, video reviews and stuff. But not to get too in the weeds, because I think definitely we're maybe making it too confusing. But let's say a weighted pistol. What's another movement that the strength is going to do in the echo?
If they have to practice for...
Just the echo, not the ringers.
No, echo is more for, ground to overhead for 155.
Oh, yeah. So, ground to overhead at one... See, now that could go on a separate day.
I feel like, yeah.
Right, so this just needs to be basic...
Go on, now you got to work on movements that's going to complement the deadlift.
Right.
And movements that's going to complement the hang clean.
Yeah, so
hamstring work.
Right, yeah. RDLs?
Yeah. Or RDLs, so you got
a lot of...
Yeah, you have 2 strength movements. This has got to be like an accessory, like a single joint exercise.
Yeah.
Maybe like a back extension.
Yep. If you really wanted to get really nice with it, I would do a single leg hamstring curl.
Yeah.
Just like a little pumper, little joint mobility at the end, something like that.
If you're going, how I always look at it, 5 exercises and you're going full intensity and you're actually implementing it right, it's going to be a solid piece right there, right? Anything that goes above, and this is just my professional opinion, anything that goes above like 5 to 6 exercises, and if you're actually hitting it hard, you're going in with full intensity of the workouts and you're actually doing it right. If you go more than that, now you're heading into someone that's on like enhancements because their recovery rate's so quick.
Yeah, definitely that.
This is well enough for me.
Like you would even just this is almost a cool down in the way that I view it. 3 sets of 25 is something that you're doing,
and sometimes
with a band at the end, kind of like.
And if you really want to work on speed, maybe even do the deadlifts, take a little break. Unless if you're one of the, I don't like taking a break because I'm already warm from those deadlifts. So doing those hang cleans, oh man, I love just ripping them because
I was thinking actually I would switch them. Like this would be A and this would be B.
Yeah.
Or would you keep the deadlifts first?
I would keep the deadlifts first.
Kind of prime the CNS a little more.
Only because you're picking up 365. How light is going to be 215?
Yeah, right.
You're just going to be like, oh hell yeah,
yeah.
And that's how the format of the.
That's actually the format of the match too, right? Yeah, you definitely get that CNS primed up.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's a sick workout.
That's a good first day. Then, so that's week 1. Week 1 is going into the lower end of the weights, so working on speed. Going into week 2, you increase the weights. Week 3, increase the weights even more. Week 4, boom, and then you're ready for match day.
Right. Okay. So let's say if this is our heavy day,
Yeah.
Like you just worked yourself on
your
deadlifts hard.
Your fast twitch muscles are fucking fried.
Yep.
Now we got to go into more of the slow twitch, less of the fast switch. I think they're all here. Do you want to get to the workout?
Yeah.
And then we'll start back up with the B day.
Yeah,
Then
exactly.
we'll do the ground overheads, and then we'll save the ladder for the. You're gonna have to have 2 heavy days.
You got to have 2 heavy days. I mean, you're a strength specialist. This is what you're built
gonna have
for.
to have 2 heavy days, and then you're gonna have a bigger rest before the match day.
Yeah, yeah. Like it really does. We have to figure out if there's is there a rest here in the middle, or is it 2 days back to back, 2 days rest? I think we'll figure that out.
I think it would be a heavy day, rest day, heavy day.
So, heavy day, rest.
Heavy day.
B is your second heavy day.
Yep. And then your lighter strength pieces, so like your 155 ground overheads for multiple reps. Working on these smaller accessory works like core, working on like banded work for your shoulders, making sure that we're staying healthy in our joints, and then go into a rest day, and then into that match day. And then this could also be switched because, like for me, for example, if I take a rest
That's
day,
6. One more rest here. 7 days.
no, that would be.
Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good. And you can even switch these two because me, for example, as an athlete, whenever I take a rest day, I'm always tight the next day. So I like these days to be my day before these, but that's depending on the athlete. If you know yourself, like for me, I'm going to be like, man, I really want to do this day right before this day, right before my match day, because it's going to prime me.
Yeah.
My body's not going to get stiffened up.
And that's also something that I think this makes a lot more sense too, because typically what you have is actually, let's say you're showing up to compete, you leave on Wednesday, you arrive on Thursday, Friday you probably want to, or you leave on Wednesday and arrive on Thursday, you probably want to do this, you're getting off the plane, you're trying to get mobile again the day before the match. So this imitates, having that rest here actually imitates your competition setting as well.
Yeah.
All right, bet. So next video, we will get back to designing, the second days and a couple more days in the program. Perfect. Sick.